In GST, for availing credit, registered person recipient who is a buyer, he was supposed to satisfy 4 conditions. If you want to avail credit, you need to satisfy 4 conditions under section 16 subsection 2. What are those conditions? You must have tax invoice copy. You must have received goods or services. Your supplier must have paid taxes. And being recipient, you are filing GST return regularly. But now there would be 5th condition, section 16 subsection 2 subclause AA. It is being introduced, notified, and now applicable from January 1, 2022. What is this subclause AA? Invoice or debit note on which you are availing credit as a buyer, it must be furnished by the supplier in a GSTR1, and it must be communicated to the recipient. So from January 1, 2022, it is very much important that invoice or debit note on which you are availing credit as a buyer, it must be furnished by your supplier in a GSTR1, and it must be communicated to the recipient. And how it should be communicated? Another change which has come just yesterday night by notification number 40/2021. Rule 36 sub-rule 4 of CGST rules got substituted. Now what substituted rule is saying, before that you must know what is this rule all about. Rule 36 sub-rule 4 was, there would be capping of input tax credit pertaining to such invoice or debit note which is not furnished by the supplier in a GSTR1. So as it was not coming auto-populated in GSTR 2A or 2B of the recipient. And capping initially was 20%, effective from 9th of October 2019, reduced to 10% 1st January 2020, then reduced to 5% 1st January 2021. Now the substituted rule is going to be effective from 1st January 2022. And what the substituted rule is talking about? It is saying no GST input tax credit you can't avail unless the invoice and debit note on which you are availing credit, it's furnished by the supplier in a GSTR1 or through invoice furnishing facility for quarterly return filer. And it must be communicated by way of GSTR 2B. So there are 2 forms which is available to the recipient. One is GSTR 2A, which is dynamic credit statement. And another is GSTR 2B, which is static, month-wise. And now they are saying recipient and buyer has to ensure that invoice and debit note on which they are availing credit must be furnished by the supplier in a GSTR1. And it must be auto-populated, reflected in GSTR 2B of the recipient of goods or services effective from January 1, 2022. Well said. So clarity emerges for all of us together. What is the first clarity? That the concept of provisional credit, 5% on invoice and debit note, which is not furnished in GSTR1 by the supplier, gone. Now credit would be available only when invoice and debit note furnished by the supplier in GSTR1 or through invoice furnishing facility and getting auto-populated in GSTR 2B. Then one dispute which is going on in the market, that okay, from 1st of January 2022, it is clear that credit is dependent on GSTR 2B. what happened for the lot of notices sent by the department for the period prior to 1st January 2022, only for mismatch of credit. Credit availed in 3B is not matching with GSTR 2A or 2B. What happened to those notices? My answer to that is, they can't demand. Department cannot demand a single penny, I can tell you, if credit is not matching with GSTR 2A or 2B. For the simple reason, this provision is made applicable now, prospective clause, applicable from January 1, 2022. So for the past period, in my humble submission, there cannot be any legal dispute for difference to be paid by us, part 1. Second part. Now, what is the relevant, GSTR 2A or GSTR 2B? As changes is being announced that my credit is dependent on GSTR 2B, I'm putting some submission before you. If my supplier, let's say I'm a recipient, I'm a buyer. My supplier is furnishing GSTR 1, and if he's monthly filer, he has to file by 11th of next month. If he's a quarterly filer, then he has been given facility of invoice furnishing facility by 13th of next month. And my 2B getting auto-populated on 14th of next month. So let's say if I'm talking about relevant month, January, let's assume January 2022. So my supplier filing GSTR 1 by 11th of next month, which is 11th of February. Those who are quarterly filer through invoice furnishing facility, they are filing by 13th of February. And my GSTR 2B getting auto-populated on 14th of February. Now they're saying, Bimal, your credit would be dependent, whatever auto-populated in GSTR 2B. Another message, if someone filed GSTR 1, let's say 12th of next month, 12th of February, for the month of January, that will not be coming in your GSTR 2B. That is getting auto-populated in GSTR 2A, but not reflected in 2B. So there would be from 12th onwards, if GSTR 1 is being filed, then your credit get postponed to the subsequent month, next month. So you have to be very much careful about that. Your supplier must be tax compliant. That is what the law provision has on date. Know your supplier. Coming to the third component, which is again important for this particular issue, and which we are discussing for understanding sake. GSTR 2B is sometimes not auto-populated for certain transaction like import of goods. When we are importing goods, we are filing bill of entry, and we are entitled to avail credit of IGST. We pay IGST along with custom duties, but IGST credit is available. That is not getting auto-populated in GSTR 2B. There may be certain reverse charge liability import of services, which we avail in GSTR 3B, table number 4A2, 4A1 for import of goods, 4A2 for import of services, 4A3 for reverse charge liability. And a certain transaction does not get auto-populated in GSTR 2B. So what happened? Credit is not available. In my humble submission, credit would be available, irrespective of fact whether auto-populated in 2B or not. Because being recipient, you are discharging GST liability and you're having eligible document, bill of entry for import of goods, self-invoice. When we are talking about RCM liability procured from unregistered supplier, credit would be available. But what is being requested to the government and CBIC, they must look into this matter. Since they have notified the CGST rules amended Rule 36, Sub-Rule 4, substituted rather, they must also clarify if something which is not getting auto-populated but paid by the recipient and buyer, he can take and avail credit on the basis of documentation and complying with the GST law. This requires clarity, and request CBIC, if they're watching this program, they must issue clarification ASAP. Point number 1, clarified, crux, which you must note that henceforth from January 1, 2022, credit is dependent on GSTR 2B. But for the past period, I'm of the opinion department cannot demand and they cannot say that my credit is dependent on 2A or 2B. Coming to the second point. Now, government is making the law stringent, and lot many provisions are being introduced that we have to be tax compliant. Another change which is happening, that if you have not filed GSTR 3B for the preceding month, then you will not be able to file GSTR 1 for succeeding month under Rule 59. And this was notified earlier. So what is the meaning coming out? If you are not filing GSTR 3B for January 2022, then you will not be able to file GSTR 1 for the month of February 2022. This is the provision. From one side, if you look at the provision, it's a good provision. We have seen the challenges in the past that lot many supplier has filed GSTR 1, credit coming in 2A or 2B, but they are not filing GSTR 3B and not making payment of taxes, in spite of the fact they have taken money from the buyer, recipient, but they are not filing GSTR 3B. Hence, they are not paying the taxes to the government department, and those taxes are being disputed when credit is being availed by the recipient or buyer. So this provision looks like good one. If you don't file your GSTR 3B for the preceding month, you will not be able to file GSTR 1 for the succeeding month. Having said, another change which is happening from January 1, 2022, there is one explanation, and this is burning. This is critical. Listen very carefully. I do not know how many of you have paid the attention for the provision getting changed, but you have to listen this provision carefully. One explanation got inserted under section 75 subsection 12 of CGST Act. And what is this explanation? Listen very, very carefully. I'm a supplier. I'm filing my GSTR 1 for outward supply. Let's say I filed my GSTR 1 showing outward supply and mention it as 5 lakh rupees. But I made the mistake. It should have been 50,000 rupees only. So what I did, clerical error, to error is human. I have furnished my GSTR 1 with figure of 5 lakh rupees instead of 50,000 rupees. Once I have filed my GSTR 1, I will not be able to revise the same. I can only amend the transaction in succeeding month. That is what the present system we are following. Now I'm filing GSTR 3B for that relevant month, let's say January 2022. I made the mistake I'm aware of, that it should be 50,000 my outward supply, and corresponding taxes need to be paid. If at all I have to pay the taxes, obviously I'm going to pay taxes only on 50,000 rupees, not on 5 lakh rupees. So I'm filing my GSTR 3B showing outward supply at 50,000 rupees. So there's a mismatch of 4,50,000 rupees in outward supply. So question is, which I'm asking you, you may answer in a chat box as well, whether this 4,50,000 which was wrongly furnished, clerical error, You could not revise your GSTR1. Are you supposed to pay taxes on this 4,50,000? I'm looking for the answer. You can write down yes or no in a chat box so that I will get a clarity. So a lot of you are saying yes, a lot of you are saying no. It's a wake-up call. Like we put alarm to wake up. So we are doing this program to wake up that. Now they have inserted explanation under section 75 subsection 12. And now they are saying, Bimal, this would be considered, the tax component on 4,50,000 would be considered self-assessment tax. That is not the end of the story. They're saying, Bimal, we can recover this money under section 79, even without issuance of show cause notice, because 75 subsection 12 start with notwithstanding clause, notwithstanding clause. They're saying it can be recovered even without issuance of show cause notice. Can you think of this clerical error, unintentional error? I could not revise my GSTR1 because there is no option available. I can only amend in subsequent period. They're saying it is self-assessment tax, can be recovered by the department under section 79, and recovery means they can approach to your bank. They can sell your movable, immovable property. They can approach to your debtor customer for getting this money. This looks like one of the draconian provision. And even without issuance of show cause notice under section 73, which is non-fraud cases, under section 74, which is the fraud cases. What should have been? I do agree that this provision is now made applicable, and through their CBIC Twitter handle, they have said they will clarify. They will clarify that government officer will not take any coercive action. Yes, supposed to be. They should not take any harassing tactics against a taxpayer who made mistake, unintentional mistake. He should not be harassed. There should be ease of business. In our humble submission, and once again request to CBIC and government, they must provide some time. That may be 2 months, 4 months, 6 months. You tell me in a chat box. They must provide some time, 2 months, 4 months, 6 months, to amend my transaction in subsequent tax period so that I can reconcile this difference of 4,50,000 and match with GSTR 3B so that it is not self-assessment tax. And that is really ease of business. I hope you all agree with me. That is what we would be suggesting and requesting CBIC and Government of India. So a lot of you are answering in a chat box, and they are also saying that yes, 3 months, 6 months. I'm so glad that at least you're understanding and you're getting my point. Recovery cannot be initiated. And I will request my media partners, those who are attending this webinar today, they must catch hold of this particular issue. And they must really, highlight to the attention of government. Such provisions are meant. Why these provisions are being made? These provisions are being made as a deterrent against the tax evader. Those who used to file GSTR1 and pass on the credit to the buyer in 2A, but they were not paying the taxes through 3B. I do agree these provisions are being made as a deterrent against the tax evader. But what happened? This provision is applicable in general to all of us together. Then government must issue a clarification. Even though this 2 months, 4 months, 6 months is not provided in the law, but that they must make clarification that till 6 months, they will not initiate recovery proceedings against the genuine and honest taxpayer. Yes, as a deterrent against a tax evader, you must take the action. And these provisions were meant only for them, but should not be used against genuine and honest taxpayer. Having said that, coming to the point number 4, and which is again one of the draconian provision. I'm not saying, it is being stated by none other than Honorable Supreme Court Judge Shri D.Y. Chandrachud while hearing a petition in the case of Radhakrishnan Industries. So something I'm not saying, I'm saying the word which is being stated while hearing a petition by none other than Honorable Supreme Court Judge Shri D.Y. Chandrachud. Provisional attachment of any property or bank account of taxable person. And these provisions are draconian in law. And I would like to highlight your attention now. You must listen this particular clause very carefully. Section 83, subsection 1, now amended. And what is the change has come? Listen very carefully. Prior to 1st January 2022, provision was during the pendency of any proceedings, kindly hear the word which I'm using. Any proceedings under section 62, which is base judgment, 63, assessment of unregistered person, 64, summary assessment, 67, which is inspection, search and seizure, 73, so-called notice for non-fraud cases, 74 for the fraud cases. Only these sections were prescribed, and that during pendency of proceedings. If commissioner is of the opinion, look at the term used, commissioner is of the opinion, and to protect the government revenue, he may pass an order for 1 year provisional attachment of property or bank account of taxable person. This was the provision prior to 1st January 2022. On this provision, Honorable Supreme Court Judge has said draconian in law. And what now they have made? Listen very carefully. You will amaze that such stringent provisions are now getting implemented from 1st January 2022. Now they are saying where after initiation of any proceedings. So earlier it was pending. Now they are saying even after initiating the proceedings and wide power given. Now they are saying chapter 12, chapter 14, chapter 15. So what is the change? Lot many sections starting with section 59 and go up to 76, 77. They are talking about after initiation of proceedings, even after issuance of summons, even if there is a discrepancy in written filing, provisional assessment, I'm telling you, they can issue provisional attachment order. Can you think of? First of all, wide power given when I'm comparing with the provision existing prior to 1st January 2022. Second, I'm comparing earlier it was during pendency, now it is saying after initiating. And third, one term, if commissioner is of the opinion, I do not understand what is the meaning of this opinion. As a taxpayer, what I will look at, if department is passing any provisional attachment order, they must have concrete proof. It should not be mechanical. They should use in rarest of rare mode. It should not be used as threatening tactics to collect the tax revenue. They must satisfy that they have formed the opinion on the basis of information, on the basis of document available with them. Just having the opinion, they're provisionally attaching. Incorrect. Earlier, they were saying that provisional attachment order against the property or bank account of taxable person. Just wake up. You are company secretary. Let's say, assume you're company secretary. You're director of a company. You're only authorized signatory, manager, GST. I'm asking one simple question. Give me the answer in a chat box. Whether department, commissioner can pass any provisional attachment order against your property, against your bank account. You only happen to be company secretary, director of a company, manager, GST. whether they can attach. Just think of, give me the answer in a chat box. You're the person only looking after the operation. I do understand they can provisionally attach property and bank account of company, but I'm talking about your property, your bank account individually. Wake up call, please wake up before it is too late. From 1st January 2022, they are saying even they can attach property and bank account of any person, please, in any person, even consultant comes. I'm a consultant. I'm only, filing GST return for my client. And they have a specified section 122 subsection 1A. If I'm any person falling within any person, and I'm cautious to commit 4 specified offenses and retaining the benefit out of it. Only in such cases, provisional attachment order can be passed against my property and bank account. What are those offenses? Supply of goods or services without invoice, which is called cash sale. Second, issuance of invoice without supply of goods or services. Fake invoice. You're taking or utilizing credit on such invoice, or there is a contravention for ISD credit, 4 specified offenses. Please be careful. If you happen to be any person, and if there's allegation from the department that you're causing such offenses which specified and retaining benefit, then even your property and bank account can be attached by the commissioner if he's having the opinion. What is our submission to the government of India? Our submission to CBIC and government would be, please use these provisions as rarest of rare. Each of the opinions should not be used in ordinary and mechanical manner. There has to be concrete proof in the hands of department before invoking these provisional attachment order. And once you're attaching the property and bank account, our business operation gets disturbed. We have to really ensure business must continue. These provisions are meant against the tax evader, should not be used against the honest and genuine taxpayer. There has to be check and balances. There has to be counter responsibility on commissioner who is passing such order. It is not simply he's passing the order with no responsibility. I will put my submission to the government. Fix the responsibility. In case of such order is being passed and such order gets vacated, and the taxpayer has faced the problem. I hope you all got my pointers. You are all getting what are the changes effective from January 1, 2022. Coming to the 5th change. Retrospective amendment. India is struggling with the retrospective amendment. We have seen recently Vodafone case, Can India case under income tax. And retrospective amendment are really not advisable for any good emerging economy and country. You should not have retrospective amendment, but to highlight here, one change which was suggested in Finance Bill 2021, which is retrospective, now made effective by way of notification 39/2021, but with retrospective date July 1, 2017. What is that change? Activities or transaction by club or association. Club or association can be registered or unregistered, and they're supplying goods or services to its members or vice versa. Principle of mutuality. It is coming to your mind, right? We have seen pre-GST era principle of mutuality, service tax not leviable as held by Honorable Supreme Court in the case of Calcutta Club. Government has made retrospective amendment. Now they are saying Bimal, all gone. Any activities or transaction other than individual by any association or body of persons, so club or association, to its member or vice versa, for cash, for deferred payment, for other valuable consideration is now supply and chargeable to GST from July 1, 2017. Explanation got inserted and deeming fiction is being created that club and association and its members would be separate person. Now, no more argument of principle of mutuality. You should not argue. And they have done away the concept of principle of mutuality. They have done away the judgment given by Honorable Supreme Court in the case of Calcutta Club, and that too effective from July 1, 2017. Just think of, if I happen to be a club or association, I may not have charged GST because I was having a pre-GST experience, jurisprudence, Calcutta Club judgment from Supreme Court, principle of mutuality, no GST alleviable. And I have not charged GST from my members. Now on January 1, 2022, you are saying it is retrospectively applicable from July 1, 2017. Then who will pay GST and where from I will collect the GST? I've supplied the goods or services to my members. They have gone. I have not collected any single penny. Why such retrospective amendment? If at all they wanted to levy GST on this transaction and they wanted to done away principle of mutuality, my only submission is they could have made it effective prospectively from January 1, 2022. I'm not saying that they can't make the law. They can make the law, but should not make the law in a way which create Pandora's box of litigation. That is not advisable. So this was the fifth one. Coming to the seventh one, which is again important and very, very important. Listen very carefully, 5 minutes more, and then I will sum up my presentation. 2 more changes and important changes. If you go to explanation 1, Roman 2, under section 73 and 74 of CGST Act. Now this explanation 1, Roman 2 got amended. You need to understand what is the meaning of this amendment they have done. In simple language, if any proceedings under section 73 and 74 against the main noticee concluded, then it shall be deemed as concluded for the co-noticee. Sometime you have seen that so-called notices are being issued to the company and sometime to director, sometime to manager, they're co-noticee. Sometime to the transporter, they're co-noticee. So explanation 1, Roman 2 says, if any proceedings against the main noticee is concluded, it shall be deemed concluded for co-noticee for reference of section 122, which is penalty for specified offenses, 125 general penalty, 129 penalty for detention, seizure, release of goods or conveyance in transit, and 130 confiscation of goods and conveyance in transit. Earlier, it was applicable for 4 specific sections, 122, 125, 129, 130. Now they have done away the reference of 129 and 130, which is detention, seizure, release of goods or conveyance in transit for e-way bill violation. Now it's a wake-up call. If you happen to be a co-noticee, then that so-called notice and assessment proceedings will initiate separately for you for reference of 129 and 130. And if there is a violation of e-way bill, and you know a lot, we have seen in the trade the kind of penalty order which we get for e-way bill violation. And what are the example? Sometimes my invoice date is not matching. Sometimes my HSN is not matching. Sometimes there's some clerical error. We are getting penalty order. And in transit, they are not listening to us. They are passing ad hoc penalty order. Now, what changes they have made, Bimal, if any penalty order is being passed against e-way bill violation under section 129 subsection 3 of CGST Act for filing appeal. Before you file appeal, listen carefully. Yesterday only they have amended and notified CGST rules, and they're saying within 15 days we must pay the amount. Otherwise, they will auction my goods and conveyance. If you want to file appeal, you have to make minimum pre-deposit of 25% of your penalty order. Minimum 25% of penalty order need to be paid for filing appeal. Just think of these provisions are now becoming part and parcel of GST law. I never thought of GST law going to be complicated. Believe me, honestly, I'm admitting today, I thought GST law going to be good and simple tax. But the way day by day these laws are getting complicated, of course, I do understand that these provisions are meant as a deterrent against a tax evader, but made applicable for genuine and honest taxpayer. And so many penalty order which is being passed gets vacated when we go up to tribunal, high court and Supreme Court. Why can't we fix the responsibility? You tell me in a chat box. I'm asking each one of you. Why can't government fix responsibility and accountability on the part of officer, those who are passing penalty orders with no base, and they're just passing the penalty order? There has to be accountability and responsibility. Nevertheless, this is what the change I thought. Let me remind you also, pertaining to 129 and 130, my friend Pavan is going to deliberate, so I'm not touching that point. Last point. Now they are being given wide power under section 152. Department can collect any data from any person for GST related issues. So wide power given in the hands of GST department for collecting the data from any person, applicable from January 1, 2022. So in my 30-40 minutes capsule, I have jotted down important 6-7 pointers. I know that we are on the verge of 1st January. A lot of my friends are waiting for the due date extension for ITR and tax audit report. They are not in a position to join today because they are occupied in their income tax return filing or tax audit report. Fortunately, we got extension, due date extension for GSTR 9 and 9C. Hopeful. We are hopeful that our voice would be heard by the government and we can hear the good news tonight or tomorrow morning. That is my expectation, likely to be. Keeping finger crossed so that we get one-time opportunity. And Omicron now conditions are being made applicable. Even income tax portal, we have seen many glitches, challenges. It is high time they must announce extension. But one point I would like to draw here. Under GST, demanding due date extension for 9 and 9C is not advisable. Though it is being done for 9 and 9C, due date extended from 31st December 2021 to 28th of February 2022 for financial year 2021. They have extended for 2 months. Well done, but due date extension has ramification, implication under GST law. Department gets wide power and extended time period for issuance of so-called notice and order under section 73, non-fraud cases, section 74, fraud cases, for issuance of so-called notice and order. Because this due date extension gives them extended power for issuance of so-called notice and order in original. Rather, we should pray and demand waiver of late fees. That should be the advisable point. But from income tax perspective, my only submission, lot of glitches. IT portal was not made available on time. We all are struggling with. If government happened to listening my voice today from PSG, our earnest request, there should be given one-time opportunity extension on similar line GSTR 9 and 9C. I'm sure you'd be agreeing with me. You can write in the chat box that you would be agreeing with me. This is what trade and professionals both are looking for. Nevertheless, 508 participants. Our Zoom is full, and YouTube is going separately.
Thanking
more than 200 on YouTube. So I'm thanking each one of you for joining today, and it's a privilege that we get your love and affection, your blessings and your guidance. So with this, wishing each one of you a great success, joy, happiness, peace, prosperity for this new year, which is coming, January 2022. So happy new year full, not only January only for the preparation. And we are providing handholding to each one of you for the changes, effective changes in GST made applicable from January 1, 2022. In case you want to write anything to us, any representation pertaining to indirect tax, GST, you can always write back to us. So you have got our email ID. You can write your suggestion, feedback, whatever you want to. And if you want to interact, definitely yes. I always believe together we will make difference. And GST, we have to make simple, good and simple tax. Take it forward. Happy New Year to all of you. Thank you very much for listening to me. Thank you.